Hello, I am a monster and I'm here to tell you that the Jenny Emily Show has reached 200 videos! Yay!
Hey there vinyl junkies! Welcome to another video with me, Jennifer Kirk, and we're here on my channel doing our 1000 greatest vinyl videos from my collection. And when we first started out doing these videos, we started out doing a lot of more contemporary stuff, which kind of reflected my own interest in music when I got into music, and kind of stuff that I've been buying more recently. And you know, if you buy stuff recently, it's more prominent in your memories, as it were. So I thought we'd redress this balance and we go back to the 1970s, which arguably was one of the finest decades for popular music. And what I've picked out here is, well, I've got three great records. But the first one I've picked is one which is actually one of the earliest records which I got into, because this record, Band on the Run by Paul McCartney and Wings, was one which I found in my parents' record collection. And I think we're all very much shaped by the music that our parents were into, certainly at the start of our musical interests. Because if your parents had an interest in music and had a collection of music, the chances are that as a youngster you went through it and investigated it, listened to it to death, and found the tracks that really reached out and touched you. And with this album, I found it was just, I wouldn't say it blew me away, but it certainly shaped a lot of my early interest and put me in the direction of other groups that became an interest for me. Now, it's a really interesting package here we've got. On the back, we've got a kind of private investigation style desk, as it were, with the pictures of Paul McCartney, Linda McCartney and Denny Laine. And it's interesting actually, the backstory behind this album is that the Wings, Paul McCartney and Wings, were getting ready to record their next album. They didn't quite know what they were going to do, but at the time they came upon a list of all the recording studios and properties that EMI owned around the world, and they thought, well, why don't we go somewhere interesting and see if that inspires the music. And they found that Lagos in Nigeria, EMI on paper had a recording studio. They thought, oh, we'll go there. But the night before they were due to fly out, two of the band members walked out on them. So Wings just became Paul, Linda and Denny, and they flew out, not really knowing what they were going to do, not really knowing where they were going, and with some of their key band members no longer in the group. It must have been very daunting for them, but they turned it around and actually came back with one of the best Wings albums. Interestingly enough, they had a lot of problems when they got out there. The recording studio, in inverted commas, turned out to be state-of-the-art, and a lot of equipment in it was unusable or broken in some way. And they also ran into some of the local thugs trying to extort money out of them and trying to claim that they were ripping off local artists' songs, things like that. But actually they turned it around and they came back with a great, great album. The front cover artwork as well, it's worth pointing out. We've got the group, we've got Paul, Linda and Denny, but everybody else on this front cover picture is actually somebody famous. So we've got Michael Parkinson, the chat show host, is there. We've got James Coburn, the Hollywood actor. We've got Christopher Lee as well, I see there. I don't know, I actually don't know who the other people are. I know that they're famous. I think he was a boxer, I could be wrong. But the guy next to, between Paul McCartney and Michael Parkinson, I think he's a famous boxer of the time. But certainly they're all really interesting cameos of famous people, and they're just photographed up against a wall somewhere, and it's actually, you could argue, it's quite a cheap cover in a way, but it's really iconic and eye-catching, and it does work. Now, tracks on here, we've got Band on the Run, Jet, Bluebird, Mrs. Vanderbilt, Let Me Roll It, Mamounia, No Words, Picasso's Last Words, Drink to Me, and also 1985, which was the track that really stood out for me on this album. Right, we're going now to another one of the albums, which actually I found in my parents' record collection. So, Mum, Dad, if you're watching, thank you for the inspiration, and also thank you for the records. Well, you don't have a record player. This next album that I picked is Rod Stewart, Atlantic Crossing. And I've picked this one as much for the artwork as I have for some of the tracks that are on it. And this is a real glam sort of looking cover artwork. I love this artwork, and it fascinated me as a kid. And you've got the stylised picture of Rod Stewart there in almost like spray-on shiny plastic flares. But it's all artwork, and again, and it's like I've said with some of the earlier albums that we've reviewed in this series, back in the 70s you didn't have CG. It all had to be done by composite pictures, little bits of cardboard cutouts and stuff that were then photographed, artwork that would be commissioned specifically for these sleeves. And then on the back we've got here, we've got again stylised transatlantic liners. And we've also got in there the Scottish saltire there for Rod Stewart. Never forgot his Scottish roots. It's not a gatefold, but we do have an inner sleeve, so we're pulling that out. And we've got the moody, sulky Rod Stewart picture on there. But tracks on this, we've got... well, again, it comes from a time when there was a lot of filler on albums. It was very unusual. The Fleetwood Mac album that we did in a previous video, Rumours, was unusual in being packed with a lot of standout tracks. But on this album, we've got I Don't Want to Talk About It and Sailing. And really, to be honest with you, those two tracks are worth the album alone. The final album I've picked is one from an artist who I believe he's released in his career somewhere in the region of something ridiculous like 100 albums. It's certainly up there with like significant double figures, and it's very, very prolific. This man can just sit at a piano and just write a tune off the cuff, and it will be new, it will be original, and more importantly, it will be an instant classic. This man has an amazing, amazing gift, but he can't write lyrics, and that's why he always has a lyricist. Have you guessed who I'm talking about? Yep, that's right. This is Elton John, and I have picked out what I believe to be his best album of all time. And this is Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. So we've got there, we've got all the references to Wizard of Oz there, the ruby slippers, the yellow brick road there, going off into the distance in the land of Oz. And again, it's a lovely painting, or it might even be a pastel drawing, but certainly this is really high quality original artwork that's been done for this album by a gentleman by the name of Ian Beck. I'd have to look him up, but my guess is that he's done quite a lot of other bits of artwork. In fact, this style looks a lot like Al Stewart's Year of the Cat album cover, which is another album that, just to give you the heads up, will probably make it into the top 1000 in a later video. But we've got an interesting style of sleeve here, because it's gatefold, but then it's double gatefold, so it keeps folding out. And we've got more and more little pictures here which go with each of the songs. So in a way, it's a bit like that Michael Jackson Dangerous album. But we've also got some band pictures, and it has to be remembered that Elton John has a band. They may not get the recognition that he does, but we've also got Davy Johnston, Dee Murray and Nigel Olsson on drums there. And then we've got the lovely picture of Bernie Taupin as well. And what I've heard as well, I don't know how much truth is in this, but apparently Bernie Taupin would write the lyrics almost like a poem, and then he would mail them. There was no email or anything like that back then, but he would physically post them to Elton John, who would then write the song. And it's a system that must have worked did work really, really well, because there is some great stuff on here. We've got Bernie and the Jets, Funeral for a Friend, Grey Seal, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Your Sister Can't Twist But She Can Rock and Roll, and of course this is the album as well that Candle in the Wind came from. It comes on double LP. You have to actually dig through the packaging to find the other LP, but it's hidden in the second gatefold. But when we pull out the inner sleeves, what we find on here is we've got some more band and musician pictures. In fact, actually there's only one inner sleeve here that has all these pictures on. Now, I don't know whether it's supposed to have two and one has at some point in the distant past been replaced by a paper inner sleeve. But certainly I've only got one high quality inner sleeve here. But overall a great package, and if there is only one Elton John album that you own, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road is that album that you must own. Really, it's the law. I looked it up. Honestly, it's there. Elton John, yeah, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, you must own a copy or you smell of poo. I don't know, you know, it was wording like that or similar. Anyway, don't forget to like this video, share it too, and leave a comment down there below. In the comments below, you can even suggest other records that you think should be in this top 1000 vinyl video, and if I have them, they may make the mix. Anyway, you take very good care of yourself. This is me, Jenny Kirk, saying keep that vinyl survival going, and bye for now.